Close my eyes, watch it all fade away. Don't you worry if it all feels the same. Just keep trying, you will know when it changes. It's your cloudy, sunny day. Close your eyes, watch it all fade away. I am a dark abyss. After all, I don't understand these jokes you tell anymore. Maybe one day I'll cut my hair and take a deep breath of this air. It's my cloudy, sunny day. Close my eyes, watch it all fade away. If you know where the blood's coming from, please let me know.
No, you don't need to care about your work, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we were talking about in the pre-show. And the only way you'll know about the pre-show is if you listen to the audio. But audio listeners, the only way that you'll be able to see our beautiful faces is if you come over here on the YouTube live stream. Jody missed the live stream, but you can catch next week's if you go subscribe right fucking now. See, that was
Only
sick.
right now.
That was clean. Yeah.
Only
no,
right now.
No, they can do it later.
No.
Nailed it.
They can do it later. They don't have to. It doesn't have to be just right now. Man. Morning. Welcome to Don't Be the Artist. I'm Hagen.
I'm Dave.
I'm Adam. Imagine if that's how subscribing to things worked. It was like a limited time window to subscribe to a channel or something you want to. That'd be terrible.
That would suck.
It'd be bad for us, but it'd be bad for everybody else too. But
Isn't that kind of how like the healthcare?
that's what I'm thinking of.
works.
Like we've enshittified everything else. We might as well we're so close.
All right. Content creation works like healthcare now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
This is America.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. How's everybody doing?
You know,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Be good.
Yeah, busy but good. But everyone's busy, so
Yeah.
I'm good.
Boring.
Well, it's the truth, and I know you agree with that.
Boring.
That can be true also.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
It can be boring.
Boring can
Yeah.
be true?
Yeah.
Yeah, boring can be true. That means I can say it though, at least, right?
I
At least
can't-
say boring.
I can't remember the last time I was bored.
What?
I can't remember the last time I was
not-
bored.
Not doing stuff bored or
Like bored of like Yeah, bored.
Constantly.
Really?
Constantly I'm bored.
Seriously?
Yes. Constantly.
Well, I guess maybe I should define what I mean by bored. Not doing anything and wanting to do something.
Constantly.
Really?
Wanting to do something else.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly. Bored, wanting to do more things or different things, or even if I'm doing something that's for me, I find it boring and then want to do something else. Yeah, constantly.
Do you have ADHD?
No, but it's a hellscape in here, man.
Okay.
It's a dangerous place in this brain, let me tell you.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking you were just talking about like you're at work or something, or working and you're bored and like want to do something else. And I was like, that's everybody though, right? Like,
No, I mean, not really.
there's an
with
aspect of that.
most of the job most of my career, there's no real room to be bored.
There's room to be bored. There's room to be.
I think that might just be a you thing.
Yeah, maybe.
I think I find myself being incredibly aware and focused on like the thing that I'm doing.
Well, it's not. I wouldn't say that. You can be bored and aware and focused.
110%.
Really?
Yeah, I can walk out of a situation. I can step off a stage that I was like giving my all and go, God, that was fucking boring. It's called acting.
Yeah, I know.
Or actually, sorry, it's called lying.
But yeah, it is lying. Yeah, but it's never boring.
Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes
Is it boring or is it frustrating?
Dave is realizing he likes his job way more than you do.
Sometimes it's boring.
I've never been bored on stage.
I don't know if that's true.
I haven't.
I feel like I've been on stage with you bored.
No.
Okay, all right.
Right.
Sure.
Even when. How do I say this? Even at the most dysfunctional gigs that we've played together,
Sure.
I'm not bored.
I find that
I'm riveted with how bad the gig is going.
dysfunctional gigs don't do it for me.
But I'm not bored.
I can find myself like playing. I can think of a time multiple times recently that I have found myself being like not like just zoned out, but just like playing the gig, doing everything, and then just like it's like disassociating.
Well, that's not bored.
No, but it's like boredom because
Yeah.
I disassociate to
It's a
play the
similar
thing
state.
because
Sure.
I'm fucking bored.
Dude, well, yeah. Okay. I disassociate a lot on gigs.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, I disassociate constantly, and it's also I mean, it's like it's not that I am genuinely like God, I wish I was doing something else. It's that like I'm bored.
Yeah.
Do something else.
Yeah, I don't call that boredom.
Or
We're splitting hairs with definitions now, but I don't call that boredom.
I don't think that it's like I need to do something else. It's that like, or like this thing sucks. It's just like, I don't know. Like I sit down. This is the thing that everybody can relate to. You sit down and you scroll Netflix indefinitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's that's what's happening in my brain.
Yeah.
All the time.
This is why I can't use Netflix.
Yeah, right.
I just gave up and I don't actually watch anything on Netflix anymore.
I
It's
sit
just
down to play a video game, and until someone decides the video game, even then, someone will go in the chat and go like, in like a Discord call, to go, "How about this game?" I'm like, no. And they're like, "Okay, how about this game?" I'm like, no, nah. I mean, if everyone wants to, then sure. But it's like, okay, well, what do you want to play? I'm like, whatever you guys want to play.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. It's not whatever they want to play because they suggested stuff and you said no.
Yeah, well, it was like scrolling the thing. I was like, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. Not what I want. But I also don't want to be difficult. And then I end up playing something I don't want to play. But
Yeah.
because I don't know what I want to play because I can't. It's not there. But it's all boring.
Music is such a weird thing to disassociate from when you're playing it live because it happens to me the most in two settings playing on stage: weddings and sports bars. I don't play sports bars a lot now, but when I used to, or really just like bars with a lot of TVs in them, I constantly would find myself just staring at the TV and like watching stuff.
Do you have to look at a screen if it's on?
Yeah, I have a hard time not.
Okay.
To say that's like the audience at those gigs probably is also like, I'm just looking at the TV and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've made the joke that I got an applause once after a bass solo, but it was because the team scored
Yeah.
that everyone was there to watch.
That seems like less of a joke and more of the reality of probably what happened.
Literally, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
Someone walked up to you like, dude, that bass solo was killing it. And you're like, I don't know. I was watching the game.
Yeah. Dude, disassociating during a solo is.
I don't know, man. I was watching the game. And there's lots of games to be watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you guys care about
Isn't
that?
there's always a game, right?
Do you pay attention to this at all?
It depends on what.
Mavericks and Stars?
No.
Okay.
Stars kind of. I'm
Okay.
interested. I'm not going to. I don't care to watch games at home, really.
Yeah, sure,
but like,
sure.
I'll go to Stars games with people.
Yeah.
I'll go to Rangers games with people.
Yeah.
Haven't been to a Mavs game, but that would be. I feel like basketball's fun in
It
person.
is. Yeah.
But don't give a shit at all watching it on
Okay.
TV. Any sport, really.
Well-
It's just like this is the most boring way to experience this.
Both teams are they keep proceeding
I knew the
forward
Stars
in the
were. Yeah.
playoffs.
Okay.
And so every night of the week this week is like
a shit
Mavs
show at
playoff,
American
Stars
Airlines.
playoff, Mavs playoff, Stars playoff.
I had no fucking clue, but I've heard people say like around me, like, yeah, it's a busy season for sports. And I'm like,
I thought, I
is
thought
it?
somebody made
Oh.
it. Somebody said that. I thought they were joking because
It's always busy.
I
season
didn't
for
realize until like a couple of days ago that their seasons align so closely.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So
I always forget that with baseball and football. That one freaks me out.
baseball
that
is just
they're-
basically all year.
Yeah, which is just weird to me. But yeah, basketball and hockey, Dallas Mavericks and Dallas Stars are both in the playoffs, and they keep moving forward. Dallas is in the Western Conference Finals.
I have no idea what that is.
Basically, they win this, then they go to like the big one,
the
big
Super-
one,
the Super Bowl for their
basketball.
sport.
For basketball.
Yeah.
What is that called in basketball?
The finals.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the finals.
I'm going to say you're right because I was about to say that's the golf thing, but that was the Masters,
That's the Masters. And then
which
and,
also really boring to watch on TV. I don't know. How
Oh,
people do
golf?
that.
yeah,
no.
you mean, yeah.
I don't know how.
That's
people
how
do
I'll
that.
get bored.
The thing that like I liked about golf was playing it, not watching.
Oh yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I can understand. It's not for me. I can understand playing
Yeah,
golf
yeah.
though. It makes sense.
I
It's
don't know.
Probably fun and relaxing at the same time.
Definitely
but watching
that.
it is like watching baseball on TV is kind of boring, really. And I mean, it's a boring sport.
I will fall asleep.
Baseball
It's
is
also kind of a boring sport. It's gotten
Yes.
better the last couple of years. They've made changes to keep things moving. Like
Yeah.
there's a clock you have to like pitch by the clock running out now, which is like a controversial change. This is the most I know about sports.
Incredible work. I'm impressed.
But so like you have to actually pitch the ball
Uh-huh.
and like keep the game moving.
It's like a
So,
shot
like,
clock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've made improvements
A
in that
shot
regard,
clock.
so it doesn't take 4 hours for a game to finish.
I liked watching baseball when it was like Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa just juiced the fuck up.
Hey, there's still
Just-
juice.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, I know, but they
still
were
happening.
like not like exploding home run records.
Yeah.
It's
Very,
like
very
this
true.
baseball's fucking awesome.
But now everybody's cheating by like stealing signs and trash cans and whatever.
We almost had that one guy who would have broken all the records, but then he got a incredible injury that ruined his career. He was gonna be like the next big pitcher and batter, and he was gonna get signed to a team for something like, I'm gonna get the number wrong. I want to say $700 million. And it was over a course of years, but then he got an injury and cost him half of that. So that injury, and it's something that he can't repair. So that is a very expensive injury.
I don't know who that was.
I can't remember who it was either, but it was something.
I know
last
there's
year.
lots of money in the LA Dodgers,
Sure.
like recently. They've
Yeah.
signed lots of like very expensive players.
Yeah.
you know a
So
lot
it's
more
like-
about sports than I thought.
It's basically just baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's baseball?
It's baseball.
it's baseball. Yeah,
I don't know.
That would make baseball fun.
I guess the Dallas Stars are in the playoffs. I don't know how like the divisions work.
I think they've
for-
pretty consistently been in the
Yeah.
playoffs the last
they,
several years.
they keep winning.
So, yeah,
They're doing very
They're doing
well
really
for
well.
themselves. So
I
And
did
that's
go to a-
hockey.
Yes.
that's hockey.
you should know
Yes.
that one.
Well, I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know the
I
Dallas
went
Stars, but you
went
should
to
know
a
hockey.
Stars game like sometime this season, not too long ago. Hadn't been in like 10 years probably. It used to be like a basically empty American Airlines Stadium. It's like packed. It's really like weird
Oh,
going and like seeing like, oh, it's very like packed. Everybody's here because they're good now. Not that
was,
they were bad then either, but like more people care about hockey in Dallas than ever before, which is really
I played
crazy.
a gig at a Stars game.
Mm.
That's how I know that it's hockey.
Oh. I went to a Stars game in high school and it was packed, but I don't know. It must have been just.
I feel like it was like that for certain
Yeah,
nights, but it
yeah.
wasn't like this was just a
Always.
random like game of like a team that doesn't have fans here
Yeah.
either.
Okay.
Because that used to be the other part too, where there were like fans of like people who moved to Dallas and they were a fan of whatever other team would go see their team play the Stars or whatever.
Yeah. Hockey's
That's what I remember.
That's
so.
like the sport that I will almost always go watch in person. If someone was like,
Oh,
go
yeah.
see the Stars, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Those dudes
What
are huge in person.
dude, and they fucking hit the
And
shit
they-
out of each other.
They go so fast.
And
So, yeah.
the game doesn't stall ever.
Yeah.
There's always something going on.
It's like if they could hit each other with soccer.
yeah.
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 I feel like
Sick.
soccer would be fun live, actually.
Yeah, but
soccer
they
moves.
just never fucking score.
Yeah.
Like
that's
they,
fine.
like we were with a friend who had like his phone with like a soccer game on for like hours, and it's like just the phone was on with the game in his
Yeah.
pocket. And for the entirety of those like 2 hours, it was 1-1. Like that is the most boring fucking shit in my life, dude. Score the fucking like. Oh, that's why I like basketball. It's a very high scoring.
That's
But
true.
the NBA is a little bit fucked with that. But that's not really, whatever. I'm not here to talk about the riggedness of the refs in the NBA.
Anyway,
All right. Yeah. You lost us.
That was it.
how did we get here?
That was it. Sports.
Yeah.
Those are sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
They,
know.
they have music of those. People were
That's
bored
not-
at those gigs.
Oh yeah, it was
playing
sports
sports cars.
club. Oh, thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, April of 2020, we did our first episode that was from home. That was April. I don't
That
know,
was the
early
first
April.
one?
It was early April of 2020.
Because
That
I
was
went back and listened to a little bit of it.
Uh-huh.
I had to turn it off because my microphone sounded so fucking bad.
So it was early April. We did our first episode from home, and it was just called like whatever from home. And then our very second episode after that was Music.
That's the one I
Feuds.
went back and listened to. My microphone still sounded horrible.
Oh, did you listen to Music Feuds Part 2?
Yeah.
Because it sounded worse than that one
Yeah.
somehow.
I know.
I don't know how that happened.
Me neither.
So this was the beginning of like, and we'd already kind of started doing this kind of thing, but like it was definitely the beginning of how we are now as a podcast, doing a lot more like topic based stuff and like kind of diving into things. And so with the latest and greatest of Music Feuds, I don't really have much else to cover in Music Feuds except for the latest and greatest, but we thought we would return and discuss what everybody's talking about, which is Kendrick and Drake. In one corner, Kendrick Lamar, and in another corner, fucking what's his real name? Something
Aubrey Graham.
Aubrey Graham.
Is that
And
really his name?
his name?
Yes.
Yeah, that's his name. That's his name, everybody.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So like, there's a
That's
lot of
not a cool rapper name.
No.
well,
But before we get too far into it, can I just say how uncomfortable it was to listen to us dance around talking about the pandemic in that Feuds episode?
Oh.
Initially, I think that like Jackson and I were both like, we don't know if we want to address this because like
Yeah.
nobody's gonna remember this. It's gonna be like
we
Ebola
were
or
still in that
whatever.
like a month period.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I thought I mean
Where any day now we were all going back to work.
yeah, I just thought the pacing of the episodes was different. That's the main thing I noticed.
was very different.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
we've
very-
we've figured that out, and it's better now.
Well, we did just talk about sports for almost 15 minutes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
we would have lost Jackson.
Yeah.
yeah. He would have changed. He would have been long gone.
He just walked out the door.
Yeah. So, Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Everybody knows that these diss tracks happened, but for me personally, I did not dive into it too deep because I figured we would do this episode 1 and 2 because it's just a really weird situation. I feel like it's it's dense, and it's dense for reasons that are unclear to me at times. But that's what we're here to discuss. So first, let's start with Adam. What do you know about the Kendrick and Drake beef? The history of said beef.
So I don't know a ton about the history. I know it does go back like many years, right?
Yes.
Like potentially even a decade or more.
Almost a decade.
It started in 2013.
Yeah. So assuming there's some more background there that isn't even public, this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
I did not realize how many different tracks they each put out. I thought it was just like 1 or 2 each. It's like 6 each. Right?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So it escalated quite a lot over, I don't know, a week and a half. And I at some point I like knew it was happening, like listened to one of the songs that Kendrick put out, and then I was like, I'm not too invested in this. I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
give a single fuck about Drake at all. Like,
gasp.
Surprise, surprise. So
I'm shocked at this information. So yeah, you're right. So back in 2011, they were like cool with each other. Drake had Kendrick on a track. They were all friendly, and then somewhere along the way, there was some other songs. Like I can't remember which one it was. The first one that Kendrick did with somebody else, where he had basically said like, I have no real like problems with other rappers. I'm paraphrasing. I'm gonna paraphrase a lot. I'm gonna have some actual lyrics, and then I'm also gonna
It's
paraphrase.
so dense.
So, but in some of the earlier work, he basically had said something along the lines of like I have no real problem with rappers, but I am going to murder you within the rap scene. And Drake being some of those people that he's basically saying like he's better than, which is a very common theme in a lot of like rap music, is like I'm the best. In fact, Drake has a fucking song about it. Like, anyway, so my favorite part of the early times was in 2015. Obama was asked who would win in a rap battle, Drake or Kendrick, and Obama answered Kendrick. He said, I think it was To Pimp a Butterfly is like one of his favorites or whatever.
yeah, his answer was basically like, "Why are you asking me this question, Kendrick?"
Yeah.
like
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, it's just it's Kendrick, whatever. And so then Drake responded in another song, said, "Tell Obama that my verses are just like the whips that he in. They bulletproof." Awesome.
No, yeah.
Great work, Drake. I don't want to just like dunk on Drake a bunch, but holy fuck, is it so easy to do. Anyway, so 2013 to 2023, there's all these little tiny like subliminal disses, little tiny things like this.
Sneak
Obama
disses.
Sneak disses.
it
Yes,
kind of like disappeared in the background.
it did.
It's not something anybody was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like if you go on like subreddits, it was kind of mentioned in certain things, but it wasn't like
I'm shocked.
yeah, it wasn't like a big to do. And even still, when we get to our first track here in 2023, does it really feel like it's a big to do right off the bat? So, did you guys listen to all of these songs?
I did not listen to all of them.
So
Yeah,
our first one we have
I listened
here,
to the first of each of them, and then the last of each of them, I think.
So our first one that we have here is First Person Shooter. First Person Shooter came out in 2023, and this was a Drake featuring J. Cole track. Okay, if you listen to this, to me, it's like it doesn't really feel like it's a diss track. There's a lot of lyrical content from J. Cole where he basically talks about how the big three of rap are himself, Drake, and Kendrick. And J. Cole mentions himself being basically like the Muhammad Ali, the best, that he's the one. And then he kind of references also that him and Drake are the GOATs and not Kendrick. But he's still saying like Kendrick's good, but he's not as good as we are, right? Because he says he's one of the big three. So this is like a really like this is, mind you, like October of 23, I believe. March of this year, Kendrick responds. Now, this is the only like huge amount of time where things happen. Like this is months.
The rest of this is like days. Yeah.
Like moments, hours.
Hours.
Yeah.
That is kind of where they lost me. Was like, this is all happening way too fast. I'm going to wait for this to shake out.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, even minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So March 22nd of 24, we're officially in 2024 with this. Kendrick responds. He's on a Future and Metro Boomin track called Like That. And he has a verse on it, and he says, motherfuck the big three, it's just big me. And he responds to all the, quote, sneak disses that they gave, basically calling them really stupid and childish and all this kind of stuff. And again, I listened to First Person Shooter, and I was like, this is a diss track?
It's pretty mild.
Yeah, it's pretty mild. And for all of the stuff, the building up to this, I suppose there's a lot like that's within Kendrick that he's like, I have to get something out here.
Yeah.
But it feels and in all fairness, Kendrick's response was it was just on one verse on a track, and it was a pretty simple, just like, hey, fuck you, like stop doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa, can we quit that shit? So then shortly after that, J. Cole releases 7-Minute Drill. Okay. This is where he decides to come at Kendrick and then pretty immediately take it down and apologize.
On stage at a huge show.
Yeah.
What a badass move to apologize for your song.
He said it was the lamest shit he ever did in his life, and it didn't sit right with him.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
And allegedly,
Uh,
people have come out saying that Kendrick called J. Cole and was like, listen, we don't have any beef.
yeah,
This isn't between us.
yeah,
And you should back the fuck away
yeah,
because Drake and I are about to go in.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Imagine that phone call being like, "You're not important in this. Get out of the way before I like mow you down." Basically,
yeah. I mean, and the
I have chills just thinking about that.
the fact that whether or not it was that, if J. Cole had the thing where he was like, this was stupid of me, I think that's awesome, very powerful of him. Because
I'm not saying there's not a. I think that did happen. He seems very self-aware enough to be like, I got way up my own ass on that one. That's not right. Don't do this.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then much less if you get a phone call or whatever from Kendrick, you'd be like, okay, yeah, you're right.
And
Yeah.
he's said like, I don't have beef with Kendrick. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, a lot of times in
like playing in the space kind of thing.
Yeah.
exactly, because hip hop beefs are as old as hip hop. That's been a thing that's going on for a long time.
yeah, and the stuff with like J. Cole in this, I mean, it seemed like it wasn't like he truly had a problem, because even in the first track he says Kendrick is one of the big three. Like it's not. I kept going back and re-listening and rereading these lyrics, and I'm like, what am I missing here? like
The decades of other stuff.
I understand
decade
that
of
he's
other
saying that Kendrick's not the best of the big three, but J. Cole's also not saying that Drake is. He's saying that him and Drake are the two best, but still the big three. Like, I mean, like we like that terminology, I feel like I relate so much to like thrash metal and to like, well, it's the big four, but like I hear that and I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you're Megadeth or Slayer or Anthrax in that scenario, that's a pretty good situation to be in,
Yeah,
right?
you're okay with that.
Yeah. But whatever.
Not
Anyway.
if you're a singular rapper.
Who has also won every award imaginable. Like,
I guess.
I feel like that's the main thing with Kendrick Lamar is like he's proven it with the awards and accolades from other people in the industry and outside of it too. Like
On that,
he's won a Pulitzer, right?
yeah, he won a Pulitzer for
like,
lyrics.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
A
I can
Pulitzer
see
for lyrics.
I can see how that.
Yeah.
Even if you think he's not the best or anything, if that goes to your head, if you win that award, you're like, I am the best.
There you go. I think whatever this is it has gone, maybe not gone to his head, but there is something else it's like
validated whatever his opinion is of
this
himself.
I kept having to, like, especially this early on, pull myself back and be like, God, such fucking childish man shit. Who fucking cares? Like what am I missing? I don't get this.
I think it's the principle.
Principle
I think
of what?
it's
A guy you don't like says you're bad at something. Who cares?
No, I know,
But
but
it's the other guy saying he's as good as you. I think that's what gets to him.
I think that's what it is. And one of the reasons he went after, so early on in amidst that beef before this stuff started happening, there was like Kendrick was also sneak dissing on Drake and saying like, he basically outed him for having ghostwriters.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it directly, but he just said like, you guys are all aware that a lot of your favorite rappers have ghostwriters.
Yeah.
And so I think Kendrick's beef with especially Drake, but maybe also J. Cole is going like, hey man, he's not in the top 3 because he doesn't even write his own shit.
Sure.
And so if I'm a guy that, won a Pulitzer Prize for writing lyrics myself, and someone who doesn't even write their own lyrics is mad at me and wants to go to war about that stuff, I'm gonna be like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna kill you.
Okay. I'm okay with like
Plus, on the other side, you also have the president said that you're the best. So
Yeah,
Sure.
that just reinforces that, I imagine, of like, I've won all the awards. The president said I'm better. Like,
yeah. Eminem,
and Drake is also a hateable person. So like,
yes.
right? The esteem from Eminem to even like where he is in terms of like the lyric game and rapping game and rhyming game, he says that Kendrick is one of the best to ever do it.
Sure. which makes it more confusing to me why you give a shit what guy you don't like
Right.
says
I
something.
think-
There's an aspect where I agree with you of being like, I would ignore Drake, and that would probably hurt him more
Yeah.
if he was ignored.
Drake would just keep poking the fucking bear,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't go anywhere.
Or you just don't acknowledge him because, like, who cares about him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the foundation of hip hop. A lot of times
Yeah.
is like, rap battles are historically important,
Yeah,
and so when you're on this level, if someone calls you out, you're gonna be like, cool, let's do it. Like, I'm ready.
yeah. I
hope
think-
you're ready.
I
That's
think
what it is.
That part,
It is childish.
I think that part I'm okay with, like the aspect of just like I'm gonna respond to you because you said something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the notion of like you're like, bro, you want a Pulitzer Prize,
Mm-hmm.
like the
Yeah, you're good.
what do you're not gonna prove anything to Drake. He's never gonna and like you're
He's
not gonna
just
prove
checking
anything.
him.
Yeah, which is totally like understandable. But it's a very strange thing, especially when like when put into context the idea of a lot of these beefs and feuds have ended up with people dead,
Yes.
and that's like a whole other notion of the whole thing. But
Yeah, that's a whole other aspect of it where it's like beyond childish. That's bad. Like,
I mean, there have been a lot of these beefs that haven't had people end up dead, and the
Sure.
rappers that have been in these beefs have since squashed the beef.
right, and
Yeah.
grow
And
up.
a very common term. Well, speaking of, the example that I read about today was Common and Ice Cube
yeah,
beefing, and Common saying repeatedly, "Let's keep this on wax," meaning like,
Yeah.
we're only rapping about each other. We're
Yeah.
not going to fucking kill each other.
yeah, yeah.
And because, especially the time that they were beefing was in like 95, 96, right after Tupac and Biggie.
yeah.
So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that every single one ended with
Yeah,
but
I know.
like that is a result, like it's not isolated. That's not an isolated end result
Absolutely.
of this, and Kendrick of the two parties would be the one to know about that and be the one that is like Drake doesn't know about. Drake knows about that, but
Yeah.
that's not where he came from.
No.
That's not his situation. So it's just like that's the other side. But then also, which we'll get to, Drake says some things in some of the songs that's like, bro, that's not where you fucking came from. Shut the fuck up. So we get to April 13th. Before that, Drake kind of responded to the verse. He was at a live show, and he basically kind of was just like, whatever, like it doesn't, like it's not that big of a deal. Like I might say something later, like no one can fuck with me, kind of thing. And then April 13th, he releases Push Ups. It was leaked, and that was in response to Kendrick's verse. Again, this is one of those tracks I listened to it and I'm like, it's not that, whatever. He calls Kendrick fake a lot, especially because he does the sneak dissing and he's calling out the sneak dissing. He makes fun of Kendrick's size, and he makes fun a lot of Kendrick writing for mainstream audiences. And he also tells Metro Boomin to stick to drums and not to make, because also in that Metro Boomin track, he also called out Drake and was a part of it. Anyway, so the criticizing Kendrick of mainstream writing music for mainstream audiences is like a backwards criticism because he gets criticized for that. And so
I was
is
about
like,
to say.
yeah, so he gets criticized for that, and the whole point of him saying is like, no, I don't do it. Kendrick does it. Kendrick writes for mainstream audience. I think this is the first time where he definitely drops Taylor Swift's name in this, the Swifties. He says you're gonna write something for the Swifties or whatever. Then in the same day, he drops Tailor Made Freestyle, like a fucking absolute buffoon. This one you can find on YouTube, but it is no longer available in most places. It features AI voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg, like a fucking idiot.
That's how you win people over.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? The Tupac's estate threatened with a lawsuit, and the song was taken down. Especially like the family being like Kendrick has given so much to
To Compton.
but also like so much love to Tupac and his family.
At the end of To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick has that imaginary conversation with Tupac based on recording that Tupac did, like an unearthed interview.
Yeah.
And like a lot of that whole record, the vignettes in between songs adds up to that being the question that he asks Tupac.
Yeah.
They're both from Compton.
Right. Exactly.
Like Tupac would rep
Yeah.
Kendrick over Drake.
That's a very personal,
Yeah.
like use of the AI stuff. Yeah,
And even that is like, especially at that point, I'm like, okay, Kendrick has every right to do whatever he
yeah.
wants.
You're like,
Yeah.
who's the asshole here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. The quote from Tupac's estate was the unauthorized, equally dismaying use of Tupac's voice against Kendrick Lamar, who has given nothing but respect to Tupac and his legacy, publicly and privately, compounds the insult. And along with this, Drake also accuses Kendrick of like not wanting to release something because of when Taylor Swift's album was going to drop, so he didn't want it to like. He didn't want to chart lower than Taylor Swift, so he like waited or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or didn't want to like chart higher than him and look like an
Whatever,
asshole. Like
whatever. It's
either of those scenarios is like, all right, so he's being smart about that. Like,
yeah. Again, this is all just like weird. Like it's like when I was listening to some of this and Drake's lyricism, it literally just is like, haha, you fucking pussy, you suck, haha, loser, hey, eat shit, piece of shit. It's like, oh my God.
I didn't, you did.
Oh, dude, I don't get this. I'm so lost. So then April 30th, our last one was April 13th. Kendrick responds with Euphoria. Now, I didn't know that Drake was an executive producer on Euphoria.
Me neither.
I did not
I
know
did.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What why?
he's I did, and it's because he has money. That's
Oh.
basically it.
That's what he
And
likes
it's the guy
kids.
who created the show likes Drake and The Weeknd
And Degrassi.
and other
And it's teen drama.
problematic
Teen drama.
people.
Teen drama.
Yeah, sure.
Degrassi.
So wait, what what are those dates again? The distance from
April 13th was
April 30th.
Push-Ups. April 30th was Euphoria.
So from the 13th to the 30th, which is 17 days, Kendrick recorded 10 diss tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People are like, it took him too long to respond.
Recorded
he
and,
loses.
and wrote. Yeah.
He wrote
Yeah.
and recorded
Yeah.
10 diss tracks.
10 different diss tracks. Right.
He's only released 3 of them.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
So he releases Euphoria. This is the one that is like, it's just like, it's aggressive hate.
Oh, it's pure. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like kind of.
It simultaneously goes so hard and also makes me want to cringe when it gets to the, I hate the way that you walk. I hate the way that you talk. I'm like, this goes fucking hard. And I'm like, all right. Okay. All right. You sound like a little bit like a toddler when you keep doing it over and over and over again, but it still goes a
I
little
get the
hard.
point. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And this is when he starts to officially bring in the family stuff, and he starts to mention that Drake is a bad dad, which is not like a shocker.
no, it would be surprising if he was a good father.
Yeah, that would be incredibly shocking. This man
He
spends
just seems
so
like
much
generally a
time.
bad person.
Yeah,
like
Drake-
self-absorbed.
He spends so much time on like streaming services like Kick, like streaming himself gambling. Like, brother is
Oh,
not.
is that really what he does?
That's one of the things he does.
There's a Drake curse in the UFC.
oh really?
Where just in mixed martial arts, where a lot of the times the people, when he bets a ridiculous amount of money on people, they end up losing.
Yeah, there's a streaming service called Kick, and it's owned by Stake, which is one of the big gambling websites. Basically, that website was birthed because you could go either way with this, but because Twitch, quote unquote, banned gambling. They didn't really, but they banned slots. And so Drake is friends with a lot of these Kick streamers who are largely pieces of shit, not all, but most of them. So Drake is one of these gambler streamers. So he will go on and he'll play slots and bet like obscene amounts of money. And then realistically, I don't have too much of a problem with it, but the biggest consumer of streaming websites is like kids.
Yeah.
So kids watching Drake bet like hundreds of thousands of dollars
Right.
is not really a great thing. But whatever, that's not really.
That is somehow like both surprising that that's a thing, and also not surprising that he's the kind of guy who's like, look at how rich I am. I'm gonna throw all my money away.
Yeah.
And look how rich I am. He's very much. He's probably the kind of guy who, like, you remember that iPhone app that was like, "How rich are you?" or whatever app.
Nope.
No,
There's some like
I have no reason to know about that.
$6,000 app or something. It was the most expensive
my
app
God.
early on in the App Store, and Apple was like,
Jesus.
"We didn't know anybody who was going to do that." Like,
Yeah. Oh my God.
we're gonna change how that works, and it was like made for like celebrities to pretend and show they're rich. And I was like, that in my head, I'm like, that's what I associate Drake with. Of like, look at me, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
He's
that's
one of those people.
he definitely is, and it's I think
And not to say like Kendrick is obviously also rich, but doesn't come.
Yeah.
If he was streaming him gambling, I would be very surprised by that.
I think it's like a little bit of like, I think parts of it are a little bit like out of touch for Drake. Not a little bit. It's very out of touch because
Yeah.
he's just
Well,
his
he's
background is so different than everybody else's
Right.
in that community, and like
he's
there's-
been successful for a long time also.
yeah, he started on Degrassi when he was 15. Like his background is not without its struggles and hardships, but it is not the same. It's he was surrounded by much more privilege than the others.
100%.
So it's like it's not to say that his life was not marred with difficulty as a child, but like it doesn't. That's not to say that he understands like. You know, it wasn't. I think it's in his next song where he talks about like shooting Kendrick. It's like, bro, no,
Yeah.
that is not what you should talk about.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
So wait, it's also in Euphoria that there was a sense that Kendrick was saying like, I don't care how many of you people are helping him write these songs.
Yeah.
I will literally come for all of you, but we don't have to do this. So
Yeah.
he kind of released Euphoria as like a warning shot.
Sure.
In summary,
Right.
a lot of people were saying like towards the end he says like, let's not do this. Like you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I would argue is a fairly mature response to this.
Yeah.
Of like, there's an aspect of like you were saying, it's like, this is kind of dumb. This is childish. But
Yeah.
also this is him being like, we don't have to do this though. Like,
Well,
if
he still released the next one.
well, no, he's ready to do it. But
Yeah.
if suddenly an apology came out,
Sure.
I do kind of believe he probably would have been like, all
Yeah,
right,
that's
we're
true.
done then.
That's true.
So,
That's true. So he released 616 in LA on May 3rd. It was the same day that Drake released Family Matters, but I believe that 616 was first.
It was first.
So 616 was in an Instagram reel. This was released in a kind of a similar way as the AI one was. It's not like it wasn't like officially released or anything. And this was fucking produced by Jack Antonoff as a reference to the Taylor Swift stuff.
So-
yeah, fucking ridiculous.
There is a rabbit hole you can go down that one where in one of Drake's disses or whatever, he mentioned something about challenging Kendrick to make like a 5-part entendre or something like that.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing of 616 in LA ties into Jack Antonoff, ties into like there is like a 5-part loop that
Yeah,
Kendrick
Drake-
has woven into the lyrics.
Yeah, Drake has a song called 8 a.m. in Charlotte. Apparently, he has multiple song titles that are timestamps in cities. And then the Taylor made freestyle was a reference to Taylor Swift, which is also the Jack Antonoff thing. So yeah, he's challenged him to a quintuple.
Yeah.
That was the line. So yeah, the 616 was. I mean, it's just again, I listened to that one. It's fine. Mostly just kind of. I think just more of the maybe it leans into like the here I'm proving what I can do thing because he's not going as hard as he possibly could.
Yeah.
And then later on that day, Drake releases Family Matters, and Drake really starts to go for Kendrick's family. Adam, do you know who Dave Free is?
no,
You don't.
I
You haven't gone down the Dave Free rabbit hole,
can't say I have.
bro. It is something else. Dave Free is a close friend of Kendrick Lamar, business partner, and Drake starts to basically say that Kendrick's kids are Dave Free's kids.
I mean, I did see that. I just don't know who he is.
There's just like all these references to him. Like it's not this one. It's Drake's last song, The Heart Part 6, where the album art. That's the other thing we haven't even talked about. The album art's a whole other thing of this too. But the album art
Yeah,
for
one of his the OJ glove.
that was 616 in LA
Yeah.
is the OJ glove. Yes. Yeah. It's so they said it was a reference, but I'm pretty sure it just is the glove. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, yeah, so like the one of the album covers, and I think it's for the last song that Drake releases, is like an Instagram comment that Dave Free left that is like liked by somebody else or so by like his by Kendrick's fiance or something.
Okay.
So anyway, he starts to just go in on the Dave Free is actually like is the biological father to your kid, and Kendrick, you're a domestic abuser and you're unfaithful to your fiance, and just starts to go in on all the family shit.
Yeah, like you don't take any pictures with your kids because they're not as black as you, and
Yeah, it does a lot of that stuff.
so stupid.
Yeah. Then less than an hour later, Kendrick releases Meet the Grahams, where he addresses each member of Drake's family, basically telling them how icky Drake is.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one
It's terrifying.
Did get my attention back while this was all happening very quickly of like, oh, these are serious
Yeah.
like claims and accusations here.
In years when my nephews are like old enough and they're like, were you around for the Drake and Kendrick beef?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, I will never forget hearing Meet the Grahams.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was sitting, Heather and I were sitting on the couch. She was like, he released another one. And we just sat there and I found like a lyric video or whatever and put it on, and I was just like, this is fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Before that, also, I should have said, because this is ridiculous, Family Matters, the last Drake one, 7.5 minutes long. Bad Drake.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's fucking stupid.
Make sure you keep it short enough to be on the radio.
Remember, everyone always says that Taylor Swift's the only one that can do long form songs. Get it together, buddy. Can we please not do that? So he releases Meet the Grahams, and this is where he starts to really kind of.
I mean, it gets very personal very quickly. Isn't one of the first things he says like, "I'm sorry, your dad is Drake," basically? Like,
Yeah. He
Yeah.
says, I have the lyrics right here. He says, Dear Adonis, which is Drake's son's name.
Yeah.
That Drake lied about. Okay. I'm sorry that man is your father. Let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man. Your dad is not responsive. I look at him and wish your grandpa would have wore a condom. I'm sorry that you got to grow up and then stand behind him.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's gonna cause that kid some therapy.
Well, yeah, but he basically is like, if you ever need anything, come to me. I can help you. Like, I know
We're
I'm
gonna have to
fucking-
revisit this in like.
I'm like a real
We're gonna have to
real
revisit
father,
this in 10 years.
dude.
Yeah, that'll still cause that kid therapy, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Some random guy is dissing your dad and is like, if you ever need something, I got you. Like, Daddy, who's that man?
Yeah. Yeah, and imagine getting that explanation too from Drake, your father.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a thing that's gonna go well.
So he alleges here that Drake is hiding another child, a daughter. This is also where he starts to really dive into the trigger warning, I suppose, the pedophilia.
Yeah.
and
the PDF file.
Yeah, and particularly his relationship with Millie Bobby Brown when she was 14, and how close they were. Which, for those who don't remember, that was incredibly creepy.
Yeah.
That was it was a big no.
Yeah.
That was probably the first time I'd heard anything about Drake and was like, oh, that guy, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And people like this guy? Like,
Right. So he also basically says that his house is about to get raided too, referencing Diddy's house getting raided. This is and people did go to his mansion after this, which is not cool, but
Yeah.
but still kind of funny after that. But yeah, so this is where it all goes down. It all starts to really like fucking explode if it hasn't already. Charles Holmes of The Ringer wrote that the last two tracks that were released, being Meet the Grahams and Family Matters, they were the doomsday machine. It has been activated, and the feud was no longer inconsequential, which I think is a pretty good analysis. Is that like the way that I felt leading up to it? I was like, some of these, like I said before, some of these tracks, I'm like, I would believe you said they aren't diss tracks. Like they're not just going fucking hard at one another. And now that's all it is. It's going fucking hard. And it's intense. You're 100% right.
It's so intense.
Yeah. So then May 4th, Kendrick releases Not Like Us. And Kendrick doubles down with all of the previous allegations. He kind of goes back to talking about the people that are around him, including his specifically his inner circle.
well, his label too.
Yeah, and his specifically names one of his security guards as well, or security team. No, security guard. Yeah. And somebody who was arrested for sex trafficking, assault, and robbery.
Yeah, the sex trafficking was dropped, but it doesn't matter.
Sure. Yeah. So this is also the one where Kendrick drops the line everybody's talking about. And we are, in fact, a music podcast. So we can't not discuss when our rappers drop some musical terminology. So we have "Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor."
And he goes, A minor.
So,
I simultaneously when I heard that line, because so while it was May 4th, it's later that night.
Mm-hmm.
So technically 2 within 24 hours.
right, yeah.
Anyway, I remember going, oh God, that's such a clever line, but also, fuck, I hate that.
Yeah,
It's kind of cheesy.
It's a clever line for a lot of people, and for a very small amount of people, it's really cheesy. And for
You just know though somebody said that or he wrote that and was like, yeah, I have to use that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
have
there's such a chance that he was just scrolling through like guitar memes and saw like a
Yeah,
guitar meme
yeah.
that, or like a chord meme that had that as a joke. Not exactly right, but like something along
Yeah.
those lines, or whatever it is. Or maybe that's just like he just thought of that originally. Either way, it's a good line. And then there's the people that are oh, fucking God damn it, God, yeah, it's a good line. All right, fine. So
He also, sorry, Hagen.
No, you're good.
He also didn't copyright this track so that people could.
it's all lifted. You can listen to all of Kendrick's songs without any threat of
Yeah.
getting your shit taken down.
which is great.
So
great
great.
move.
People are playing this in the club late that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about that is that, so do you guys know who DJ Academics is?
No.
So he's like a YouTuber and now Twitch streamer that is like he's basically someone who like reports on a lot of like hip hop news, and he's done a lot of like on the ground research for a lot of things in relation to this, but he was like one of the people that was premiering some of Drake's stuff because he's friends with Drake. And for someone like him, I mean, I don't know what his end up, like what side he was on in the end, but for someone like him, who this is his fucking career, is analyzing this kind of stuff and talking about it endlessly, that's like a game changer. To not get any threat of copyright, DMCA, he won't have his shit taken down, nothing to listen to this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we could play it on here and
we could be
YouTube
fine.
won't care.
Yeah, we will be just fine. It would notice we played it, but it won't.
That would
yeah,
honestly, that's
it.
probably the first thing that we would have played that hasn't had that happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also this track, being Not Like Us, is viewed by a lot of critics as Kendrick's victory lap. Even though Drake has one more thing to drop for us, but
The cover art for this one too is like satellite view of his mansion with a bunch of pins on it, and you're like,
yeesh.
there's something very
Yeah.
personal there. Like,
The pins are all like pedophile.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if all of this is true and you're Drake, you're looking at that and you're like, somebody told somebody, like,
Dude, both subreddits were going fucking wild
Yeah.
the night that this came out. And everybody was like, I hope both of these dudes are not lying because these are huge claims.
serious accusations. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess give Drake the chance, because May 5th, Drake releases The Heart Part 6.
Dick move to do that with the title.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Heart Part 5 being a Kendrick song.
Oh, and 1 through 4.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly, yeah. So this is where Drake denies. He says, "Nah, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing wrong. That wasn't me. I didn't do it." And he has some really great lines in this. I kind of have just a little bit I'd like to read from this. He says, "Drake is not a name that you're gonna see no sex offender list. Easy does it. You mention a minor, but gotta be sharp and tell the fans, who was it? You thought you left D flat, D major. I'll slit your throat with the razor and do Rick Ross air like that one flight from Malaysia. I'm your baby mama's screensaver, only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I'd never look twice at no teenager." That's
Literally did.
that's
But keep going.
If you have to say
Oh,
that-
that's it. because he does all that right there.
Well, he says at some point he says I'm I'm too famous. I would have been arrested
Yeah,
already.
yeah, yeah,
It's
he
like
said that too,
Epstein
yeah.
has been famous for a long fucking time.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
Harvey Weinstein.
Every famous person,
Any of them.
who has been arrested for anything.
Yeah. For that's just one section where he responds
yeah,
to
yeah.
the A minor, says B sharp, says D flat, D major, and also says the only fucking with Whitney's. Whitney is Kendrick's fiance's name.
Yeah.
Not
Also,
Millie Bobby Brown's.
Screensaver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is Drake?
Yeah. Crazy.
Well, in Canada,
the last time you've
we
seen
just
a
got screensavers.
When is the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
time
yeah.
you've seen a screensaver on anything?
Anyway,
This response was like completely met with all sorts of negativity. Like this has over 1 million dislikes on YouTube. Not a single person thought it was like a good. I mean, I'm sure somebody did, but like majority of people thought it was a horrible response. There was nothing of substance said here. It was a lot of uhs, and there was like I feel like in the beginning he almost said something like, "Man, we shouldn't have taken it this far," but also "fuck you, I'm gonna kill you." I'm like, dude. You were so close.
Yeah.
You almost had it, but then you had to do that. All right, fine, whatever.
I saw a video today. This guy was like, "Okay, so while we're talking about the A minor and Drake says B sharp, he's like, Drake, I'm talking to you. B sharp is C, and C major is the relative of A minor.
Yeah.
So you might want to rethink that line.
He could have done different stuff with that. My only problem with that, like this line was stupid.
His ghostwriters really dropped the ball.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
My problem was that so many people, like Anthony Fantano, were like, B sharp's not a thing. I'm like,
It is.
Shut up.
Yeah,
You're so stupid.
And
I can't.
You can't just say that's not a thing because. Okay, sorry.
It's one of those
That's
things
a
that's
stupid
like
thing to say.
I said it earlier today at work, and someone was like, "He means C," and I'm like, "Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, we know that because we're musicians." But Anthony Fantano is also a musician.
He's a bass player.
Yeah, and he's like, B sharp's not a thing. Like, I can't. That's infuriating that now musicians or people who think they're really intelligent are like, wow, he's so stupid. I'm like, he is stupid,
That's not the reason
but
why.
not the reason. Yeah, and then you thought you left D flat, D major. Like, where? Okay, whatever. Anyway,
That's after the ghostwriters left. And then he's
Yeah.
just like, what are music words?
Yeah.
You
Let him go to Google.
Almost had it. So, like I said, this song was met with a lot of with very, very negative reviews, over 1 million dislikes on YouTube, and yeah, not good. Not a good song.
No. No, not at all. And at the end, he's just talking as if he won.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Come on, Kendrick, man. Like, I gotta go on tour, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going on. Like, don't. I fucking told you not to do this. I win. I win.
Yeah.
He said something too about they fed him fake information.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot
Which
about
is
that.
like-
yeah.
So,
Okay.
do you have a whole thing on that?
No,
Okay.
go ahead.
So
it's just so you're saying you fed fake information about like that you're a pedophile?
It was
That's where
specifically
you went
about
with
the
this?
daughter.
No, I know.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the daughter.
Yeah.
The implication is like all of that is fake and it was fed to them. It's like, but you fed them that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Because Kendrick was saying, like, okay, there are people in your camp that fucking hate you, and
Yeah.
they came to help me out with this stuff, and they gave me stuff. And then Drake was like, I planted that evidence. It's fake. And then the person who found the evidence for Kendrick went live on Instagram, or I forget which app they went live on, but they had the stuff
Yeah.
all in like the Instagram live or whatever it was. They were like, this isn't fake. Like, I have all of this stuff, literal receipts for Ozempic.
Yeah.
I have like all the things that Kendrick has mentioned. And also, Drake, I have screenshots of you in the hotel where you discarded this stuff.
Yeah.
And I have more stuff that you've discarded over the years that you have forgotten about. So, like, because I think Drake's camp tried to sue that person or
Right.
something like that for defamation or something like that. And they were like, it's not defamation, and call off this lawsuit because it's the fucking truth.
Yeah.
yeah, would you like this in court?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's absolutely wild. It's a funny thing to say though. It sure is funny. Nuh-uh. I didn't. You haha. You
I
fell
knew
for
you'd
it,
go
idiot.
for this without
You fell
doing
for
your
it,
research.
Idiot. Haha.
Yeah.
Yeah. As if. So, it has been pretty much agreed upon that Kendrick is the winner Most sources have agreed Kendrick is the winner of this rap battle, of this
But
feud.
he also stopped it by not responding.
Well, a lot of people are thinking that Kendrick not responding is on purpose because he wants people to have to sit with what Drake said.
Yeah.
And he wants people to
That's
know.
what I mean. Like you're the winner though if you're the one who stops it,
Yeah.
because you're like, okay, well, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at what he did.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't, even if Kendrick responded now, it wouldn't really like this. This response from Jake was horrible. It was awful. It was it's just like it's void of any sort of like artistic content. There's no level of like eloquency in not only like his lyrics but the way that he presents them to people. There's nothing that's happening here that feels like it's on any sort of like I'm here to tell you something that's not just like nuh-uh, fuck you, I didn't do that. It's just it's like the all of this, like I could say so much of this is childish. Drake's responses through and through, they just sound like a brat. They sound like a brat 100% of the way, and it's annoying. It's like so annoying to listen to it.
That same video I mentioned earlier of Common talking about his beef with Ice Cube. He was on Deezus and Mero, and he was also asked about what he thinks about Kendrick and Drake beefing, and that was a part of the conversation was they asked him, being an old head in hip hop, what are the criteria for a good beef?
Yeah.
And he was like, it's if you have good beats, if you have beats preferably that can be like played in a club, and if your lines are good.
Yeah.
And he was like, there's no such thing as going too far unless it goes off of the wax. So if people start getting shot or if people die, that's too far. Outside of that, if you want to take it somewhere, make sure that your skill
Make sure you're good while doing it.
Yeah, make sure you're good while doing it. And he goes, I'm not going to talk about Kendrick and Drake specifically, but I do think that some people should hold off until they're fully ready.
Yeah.
And everybody in the comments was like, he's basically saying Kendrick was ready and Drake wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that if you're like, I think anyone actually in the hip hop community already knows not to fuck with people like Common or Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole for that matter, or Yasin Bey, but I can't remember his hip hop name now, which is funny. But anyway, there's a lot of people throughout the history of hip hop. It's like, don't battle with those people.
Right.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Like, don't get into a math competition with Einstein.
Like nobody's started anything with like Eminem, for example. Like,
Exactly.
Right.
And, well, people have.
Well, people have tried.
It didn't
but, like,
work.
Stupid
Yeah, it didn't
people.
go well.
MGK
Yeah.
tried to do it.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, if you're gonna start to do that, you have to be good at your art
Yeah.
at this point.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
And that's really, I think, the key difference here is like, well, one of them is good. And Drake very obviously is not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's like I watched this video this morning about like it was analysis of a New York Times article that was is Taylor Swift bigger than the Beatles? It was a Rick Beato video, and the one of the notions that like the takeaway from the video from his perspective was like she has all of these people working behind the scenes that are part of it, that are part of her situation, and if I was to take any of that and take it here, it's like, well, if all of this ghostwriter shit is true, if he has this huge team behind him, I mean, it's like
it should be better.
it should be better, and he he clearly isn't ready for this kind of thing. He's a different kind of show than Kendrick is. So that's
It's like for any jazz people that ever hear this, it's like Chris Potter in a saxophone like solo off versus Kenny G.
right.
It's just there's no competition.
Yeah,
But Kenny G is more popular
right.
and has
Right.
nicer hair.
Sure. I think it's just one of those things that's like, this is, throughout all of the listening and all of the reading through this, it's like, a lot of this does just read as just man shit. Like it's just masculine shit that people have to whatever deal with. And like Drake's comes from a place of like, bro, you don't have it. Like you don't, you talk a fucking big game and there's nothing there. You have literally nothing to back what you're saying, except for money to maybe like take care of, I guess, what you were talking about, but that's it. That's all you have. And maybe you won't have that soon because you're going to gamble it all away. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like interesting analysis of all of this. A lot of people. So the Ringer I mentioned earlier, they said that this is considered the last great rap beef in terms of size, scale, and capital. We're witnessing the last rap beef of this magnitude. And someone of the Independent said this has caused both men to dig deep and produce some of their best work in years. Interesting positions from both, but the best one is from Pitchfork. They labeled the
4.5
feud,
out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they labeled the feud the most miserable spectacle in rap history, calling it a disinformation campaign that has turned rap's all-time biggest beef into a messy, confusing conflict. At its core is nothing but ugly. It doesn't even sound like rap beef anymore, but the death knell of an entire era.
No, that's so dramatic.
It's
What a dumb take.
That's so dramatic.
I think it's just incredibly out of touch.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the most like out of touch take they could possibly have. Disinformation campaign? Like, what do you mean? Like, you mean when rappers say mean things about each other? Like, what? Like
That's never happened.
yeah. And also, like, Drake's the only one that might have said something that wasn't true so far. We don't know for sure, but like Kendrick, all of Kendrick's stuff has been corroborated. Like, what do you mean disinformation?
Yeah,
like,
let's say that all of everything both of them said about each other is true. Kendrick had a bout of spousal abuse with his wife, and they've since repaired it
sure.
because Kendrick's fiance's brother has a quoted tweet somewhere saying like, "Go get him," to Kendrick,
Sure.
thus supporting him. And people were like, well, Kendrick and his wife don't follow each other, or fiance don't follow each other on Instagram. It's like, they never have.
Sure.
But he follows Dave Freeze or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's up with Kendrick's.
Yeah.
With Drake and several other people implicated in Kendrick's like truth about Drake, he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
He has 2 illegitimate children that he won't claim.
Running a sex trafficking
He's
ring,
running a sex trafficking ring
Yeah,
with
all-
several other people in Hollywood,
including his label.
including his label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All very like way more. I mean, not to say that the other
No, not to
accusations are-
downplay
yeah,
spousal
but,
abuse
like,
or yeah.
unfortunately, that is a thing that happens, and people can improve or work on or
Yeah.
become better about. It's kind of generally speaking, people who are accused of being pedophiles suddenly don't go, "Oh, I realize that was bad."
Yeah.
They tend to dig their heels in and say, "I'm not a pedophile. You're a pedophile."
Yeah. I would say if she's still around, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's that they fixed
Of course,
it.
Yeah.
but he's referenced it in.
He's also. I mean, he's talked about it.
He talked about it
Sure.
in Mr. Morale,
Yeah.
and he blamed it on alcohol, which is not a good reason. But like,
Yeah.
anyway,
So
yeah, there's it's more normal, I guess, is the not a good way to put
yeah,
it, but like
it's still fucking horrible.
it's bad and
but
not
if that's
good. But
true,
if that's
I would
what's
rather
true,
that be
it's-
true about me
right.
rather than that I hang out with sex traffickers and pedophiles, and I myself am a part of that group.
Yeah,
that is
and you have ghostwriters.
yeah. That feels like a dangerous thing for comparison, because we're comparing crimes of horrible, horrible things.
Yes.
So let's
Yes.
not
Yes.
compare crimes, because that's not a good idea.
I know, I get it.
Because okay, so here's the final thing I have is that both of these people are hypocrites as all fucking get out.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is where I understand that you want to respond to the things you have to say. I for one I am like Kendrick one. Kendrick's music's better. But in such, I will start with Drake's thing because I don't like Drake's stuff. I don't like what he said at all. He was horrible, whatever. He's a horrible person. He went in on Kendrick Lamar about being a spousal abuser, and yet also on the Family Matters track shouted out Chris Brown and Tony. What is his name again? Tony Inez, whatever his name. Yeah. He's also an abuser. They were both obviously everyone knows Chris Brown's thing. So an incredible amount of hypocrisy for like coming at Kendrick for something and also shouting out one of the most famous public abusers. Kendrick had featured Kodak Black on Mr. Morale. Kodak Black has taken a plea deal in a first-degree criminal sexual assault case, and he also has come out in support of XXXTentacion and R. Kelly because Spotify was removing their music because they are criminals, and he was like, "I'm going to remove my music too." We all know what R. Kelly did. Like, okay, so I don't really like. I'm not
What
saying
a weird
that,
thing to do too, to be like, I'm going to defend these convicted criminals by putting myself in the same camp and basically confirming that I think they're right by removing my music.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
what a weird move.
Very, very strange choice on his part to do that. And to at the same time, like, you know, have this stance about Drake's personal life.
Yeah.
And similarly, Drake having this stance about Kendrick's personal life while supporting those such as Chris Brown. So there is like so much hypocrisy just piling up behind each one of these individuals. The amount of like what feels like high ground they stand on with each opinion of each other is like it when as soon as I read that information, I was like, knock it down. Like, like that, those things are not really working for me. I think the interesting thing that is not 100% true, but another thing that Pitchfork said was that Kendrick won, but it was a Pyrrhic victory. I had never seen this word before. Pyrrhic.
So this was Pitchfork, though, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to be clever.
I guess. So a Pyrrhic victory is a victory that inflicts such devastating toll on the victor that it is a tantamount defeat. So I don't think that Kendrick really had that much shit come back and get him, but it definitely was not without other sorts of things. Questlove condemned both for engaging in, quote, wrestling match level mudslinging, which I think is funny. He said that
very
hip hop
on
is
brand for him.
truly dead.
And then a lot of people posted him playing drums for Jay-Z when Jay-Z was recording a beef.
Yeah.
And a lot of people really came at Questlove.
Yeah.
He's kind of playing the like elder statesman role, though.
Yeah.
Of like, come on, guys, grow up.
As he
Like,
should.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's where the beef sits now. Like as we mentioned, there's how many 6 more songs that Kendrick has supposedly.
Yeah.
And so those could be, those could drop. We could just see it end right now. It is incredibly fascinating. It is incredibly deep. But it also, I think, is, in my opinion, it is very dangerous to obsess and idolize anyone involved in this. These are people who are it's an interesting story to follow. It is interesting drama to follow. But it can turn very bad quickly. And the Common thing is a great, like what Common said about it is a very, very great analysis and great thing to take away from it. It shouldn't come off of the wax. Like that's an excellent thing that I hope stays that way. And I hope it stays that way not only for the musicians, but for the people, the fans, those that are listening to this and obsessing over each little fucking word like it's the fucking Bible.
I mean, we've talked about that in regards to Taylor Swift, and speaking of Taylor Swift versus the Beatles, people have done that with the Beatles.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need not get too obsessed over that stuff. But I do think that if Kendrick does release other stuff, whatever, cool. I'd love to hear it because I love his music.
Yeah.
I just do think that there is the potential for Drake's entire career to be done over this.
It's
I mean,
yeah, even if there's an ounce of truth to any of it,
I could see his career being done like because he gets arrested.
That's what I mean.
But otherwise, no, I don't think his career is. I think he's fine. But if he gets arrested, yes, for sure.
I there's
think
definitely
that-
an aspect of like, you want to say like you're famous and successful, you should just shut up and do your thing. You don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't have anything to prove by going up against somebody else in this
Yeah.
battle, like he views it as, is like, you have a good thing going. Maybe just keep doing that.
Yeah.
If you get to gamble money on Twitch or whatever, like
Kick.
and like
then great, you
like
know.
Kendrick said, if you don't tell no lies, I won't tell any truths.
Right.
Which is like, don't lie about me and
Yeah.
don't talk about my family, and I won't ruin your fucking life.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see if, it would be wild if like police were starting to form a case off of Kendrick's raps. It would be wild. It would be really bad police work, but it would be wild.
It would
The
be bad
unfortunate-
police work because if this is what got you to take a look,
Yeah.
Well,
Whereas,
that's what I'm
like, there have
saying.
been
I mean, that has
rumors.
happened.
Well, right, but like there have been rumors about this before, accusations about stuff like this.
Yeah, forever. Yeah,
Where it's like there should be there has to be a case,
since
right?
Millie Bobby Brown was 14. This has been like talked about. So I mean, I think I like I did this in recent time. Thinks about it makes me think about when Andrew Tate was arrested. Everybody was like, "It was Greta Thunberg," and like it wasn't. They had a case building. It wasn't the little pizza boxes. They wasn't because of her. It was because they finally got him. It was just good timing.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Good.
I was like, this sounds like some right wing conspiracy theory.
I know what you're talking about, and I think that says more about us than Adam.
Just on a different.
I
part
know
of
the
internet.
names
Yeah.
that you
Andrew
mentioned.
Tate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know he's
My
an asshole
hero.
guy. Yeah. And that's I know the names.
You know who Greta Thunberg is? Yeah.
And so that's where I'm like, oh, this is a right wing conspiracy theory.
They
that,
were
like,
okay.
came
I'll
out.
put it in Drake and Kendrick terms. They were beefing on Twitter, and
X.
on X. They were beefing on
At
X
the time, Twitter.
And
Okay, so this was a while ago. Okay.
he was arrested in 2022. I think.
Okay.
So they were beefing, and I think it was some video that Andrew Tate filmed in response to Greta Thunberg, and was like eating a pizza, talking about like not throwing away the pizza boxes in like a good way or whatever, and just
Sure,
like,
that'll prove your point.
exactly. Hey, it will. But then, like the next day, he got arrested by the Romanian police, and everyone online was like, "It's because they saw the pizza boxes in the video, so they knew that he was in Romania because they didn't know if he was there for sure. So they saw the pizza boxes. Greta Thunberg got him arrested."
All right. Not what I expected. I didn't know Romania was part of this either. So
He's lived in Romania for a long time.
okay.
Mixing pop culture with crime.
Yes.
It's not a good idea.
Yes. That shouldn't happen here with Drake and Kendrick. That
No,
hopefully won't. I mean, Drake
Somebody
won't
in
do
Drake's
fuck
party got
shit.
shot recently.
Really?
Yeah, one of his
Jeez.
security guards, like close to his house.
Oh, like when people were like going outside of his mansion.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's some super fucked shit. Like that's the stuff about this is just like, I don't understand. Like if these two guys are fighting this hard, why are you fighting that hard for? Like for them? Like what? Like I don't understand. And even if if you're gonna take
Why are you
all
fighting for millionaires?
yeah, and also like if you're on the side of Kendrick, like listen to his words. Like he's very much been like, if you're gonna come for me, I'm gonna like okay, fuck you. But that doesn't mean that he's like, I'm gonna kill you. Drake said, I'm gonna like, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
Kendrick said, "You deserve to die.
Yeah.
You deserve to be."
But that's different.
Yeah, you deserve to to chill with Epstein
Yeah.
and Harvey Weinstein in prison.
Yeah.
But Drake said, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, Drake said he said multiple times different ways, but he said in this one, "I'll slit your throat with the razor."
Yeah.
It's like, bro, just leave it. That's crazy. Okay, that's enough talk about the beef. King Kush, what's going on? How we doing, brother? In the chat, we're also recording for our audio podcast. Sorry, that was jarring, audio listeners. Let's talk about what we're listening to. Who wants to go?
I was gonna say I'll go first because if people listen to Fun Fridays, they know that I listen to Billie Eilish's new album.
Yes.
Before we talked about doing that.
Uh-huh.
It's great. I listened to it again because my wife wanted to hear it, and yeah, I like it.
Excellent. That's what you got. You like it?
Yeah, just a little bit. It's growing on me. Whatever Dave's been saying.
It's a grower. It's a
Every
grower,
episode.
dude.
No, it's a really good album. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been listening to the only new thing is, and it's actually not new. It's from 2006, but one of our friends, Hagen,
not new at all.
not new at all.
Not new.
One of our friends put me onto it. It is the rhythm section from Stone Temple Pilots with the singer of Filter. I think they released one album in 2006 as like a supergroup, and it sounds like Stone Temple Pilots. So I dig it.
Cool. I can't stop listening to Knocked Loose. I can't express enough. You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to by Knocked Loose it's going to be hard for that to be like not the metal album of the year. It's just insane. And it's got to get Grammy noms because they sold the vinyl in Target, which is so funny.
I love that idea.
A hardcore band had their record in Target, and there was a Target variant. It's wild. Like it's like,
Target knows what's up.
yeah, for real. But also from Fun Fridays, we listened to a band called One Step Closer, and they released an album called All You Embrace. It's in that fucking like I don't know, like that kind of nostalgia shit we've been listening to from like 2007, 2008. We listened to like 2 of the songs. One of them was weird. The other one was like very punk, and it was like, you know, the mesh was good. The whole album feels like, oh, I get it. I fucking get it. And it's a really, really good album. If you're into a little bit of that 2000s, like, I don't know, not necessarily emo, not necessarily hardcore, but in that kind of nostalgia. Yeah. I don't want to say pop punk because it's not exactly pop punk, but it's somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that's what we got. Cool. Anybody got anything else?
No.
Excellent.
King Kush, come hang out with us on Friday and let us know about that song.
Yeah. Hey, subscribe to the channel. You'll see we're gonna go live. We go live every Friday, and we listen to new music, whether it be brand new or stuff that we haven't heard. We call it New Music Fun Fridays. So please just come hang out with us. You can drop links for your shit in the chat there, or you can follow us on social media. DFTA Podcast on Instagram. Don't Be the Artist on TikTok. You can DM us all of your new music there, and we will check. You subbed already, brother. Thank you. I missed it. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for King Kush. Let's fucking go.
King Kush.
Oh my God, he's the man.
Again, sorry, audio only listeners.
That's part of the
they
deal.
hear that.
They know.
Yeah, I know.
They know.
But that's what you get, audio only listeners. If you come and watch the live stream and you sub while we're live, you will get your own applause. You'll get your air horn, all of that shit. So like I said, come hang out with us on Fun Fridays. Find us on social media, DFTA Podcast on Instagram. Don't Feed the Artist on TikTok. And if you have any topic ideas, if you want to give us your take on who won the beef, you can not only drop us a comment or a DM on those social medias, but you can email us at feedback@don'tbetheartist.com. We would love to hear from you if you have an opinion that Drake won. Because why? But we still want to know why you think that, because that's interesting. And yeah, if you haven't already, follow, subscribe, whatever podcast app you're using to listen to this. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like the video, all that shit. It helps us out a ton. We appreciate it. We appreciate you so much. Adam's gonna be gone a lot coming up soon. I'm just gonna say it now.
Yeah, we're trying to work around it.
Yeah, we're trying to work around it.
I'm just saying we're gonna be down. We're gonna be down an album, and
There's going to be episodes I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Just take your word at it for what you put in the title. Yeah.
Do I have to write the description?
That's how that
for
works now. I mean, if you do, I'll just use that, even if it's not accurate.
God damn it. Bye.